Hey guys, how's it going? So welcome to this second tutorial on VESTA. So in the last tutorial I already showed you guys how to download a zip file and how to open it using VESTA. So towards the end of the video I showed you guys how to download a silicon zip file from the American Mineralogist Crystallography database, and we opened that. So we'll be continuing from that. So here what I have is I have a silicon crystal structure opened using VESTA, and you can see that you can very easily visualize it. You just basically click on the screen and then move your mouse in whichever direction you want. And the fun thing is that it has this axis denoting whatever the position of the crystal is at a particular location. So now in this tutorial what we'll be doing is I'll be taking you through some of the features or the graphical user interface of the VESTA. So like what all these functions do, and so I'll be just walking you through all the features of VESTA. And okay, so without further ado, let's start the tutorial. So first of all, now what you can see is that I have moved my crystal a lot and I don't see it very regularly. So in order to position it in a more regular or a better pattern, I don't know what to say, just you can click here to view the crystal along the a-axis. So in case you move it a lot and the orientation becomes all wrong, then you don't have to worry. Just click on A to view it along A, then click on B to view it along B, click on C to view it along the C axis, A star, B star, C star, and then you have a standard orientation, which is better as it shows you a kind of a 3D image. Then what you can do is you can rotate it along the x-axis by clicking here, then rotate it along the x-axis in the opposite direction, and you come back to the initial position. Then you can rotate it around the z-axis, and then you can rotate it back to come back to the initial position. And you can set the step width, that is one rotation would produce, one click would rather produce a rotation of 45 degrees. So you can set it to 90, and then when you rotate it, it will rotate by 90 degrees. So after 4 clicks we come back, that is we do a 360 and come back to the initial position. Then you have this button that translates your crystal upwards and downwards, and you can translate your crystal leftwards and rightwards here. And again you can set the step width in terms of pixels. Now I tend to use these figures for research papers, so I just translate it nearer to the axes, and then I take a snapshot. Then you have this zoom in button, zoom out button, and then you have a fit to screen button, and again you have the step width. So this is the upper toolbar that we have covered. Now coming to the lower toolbar, now the output screen shows all the programming stuff that VESTA is doing. Now in order to get better or more useful information, what you can do is you can click on summary to get all the information about your crystal. So you have the lattice parameters, you have the lattice angles, then you have the space group, and that's all. And you have the volume, and then you have the comment tab, then the output tab. So whenever you perform some operation, this tab writes down the output and it shows you the CPU time, etc, etc. Now coming to the left toolbar, so what you can do is you can click here and then you will come into the selection mode, and you can select a particular atom like this by clicking on it. And you can also, what you can do is you can just click on it and then press delete to delete this atom. Then if you want it back, you can just press Ctrl Z to undo your action. So that way you can in this mode you can select your atoms, or you can even select a bond and then delete it. So this is another useful mode to have. Then you have the translate mode, where you can just pick your crystal up and place it anywhere you want. And then you have a magnifier, which again just used to magnify your crystal. Then you have let me just put it back. Then you have the bond angle kind of thing, the bond distance, measure. So what you do is you click on these two atoms, and then you will get the bond distance between them, that is 2.35156 angstrom, and you even get the positions of the two atoms that it is measuring the distance between. Then you have the bond angle measuring tool. So you just let's say you want to measure the angle between these bonds. Okay, so okay, let me see if I did it correctly or not. Okay, yeah, so now it's measuring the angle between these three bonds, I guess, or I guess it's measuring the angle between these this angle right here, I think. Let me just unselect it all and do it again. Okay, so I want this angle, okay, right? So we want this angle, so you click here, and then here. So it should be, yeah, now it's correct. Okay, so now you are getting a angle of 109 degrees among these three atoms. That is this angle right here. So you get 109 degrees for these. So it is another useful tool. Then you have another two tools, that is the interfacial angle, dihedral angle. I don't really use this, so I guess I'm not really sure about their uses. Then you have the style tab right here. Now it shows you certain options about how you would like to model your system. So what you can do is you can show a dotted surface if that's what you want. Then you can have a space filling model right here, and you can have a polyhedral model, you can have a wireframe kind of thing, you can have a stick model. So these are the models that you can have, although I have only seen people using the polyhedral and ball stick. So in my usage, these are the two most commonly used models. However, in your usage, you might find the others also useful. Then you have, before coming to these three, you can go to objects, where it shows you that what kind of things you would like to see here. So if you don't want to see bonds, just uncheck that. If you don't want to see atoms, uncheck that. If you don't want to see polyhedra, uncheck that. However, we have already turned off the polyhedra mode. So, and then you can select the atoms at once by clicking here, which is currently not working, I guess, because I selected. Okay, so I mean, I used to be able to select the atoms by clicking on here, but I guess it isn't. Maybe I need to make it like this. No, it is not working right now. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was able to select atoms by just checking these, but it's not working right now. So anyway, now coming to tools, then you have this cool animation effect right here. So you can just click in whichever direction you want it to be rotating. Then you have a push, where I guess you can just slide your mouse and push it to rotate it or something. Then you have a random animation, where it rotates in a random manner. And then you have these options to make sure that you rotate them in along some particular axis. So these are all the tools on your screen. Now coming back to the style tab, we have these three boxes over here, that is properties. So coming to the properties, you have some options like, do you want to show the unit cell, that is these this cube right here. So if you click on do not show, and then you can see that it has disappeared. If you want to show a single unit cell, you can click here. If you want to show all the unit cells, because sometimes what you have is you have a supercell, so, or you have some extended form. So if you want to show all the unit cells, then you can click here. If you want to show a single unit cell, then you can click here. Then you can choose dotted lines to show your unit cell, dashed lines, or whatever you want. You can set the line thickness, the color of the line, and all that. You can show this compass or not, that is up to you. You can show the labels or not. You can set the shape and color of the shapes. So I guess this refers to the color of the atoms. So let me just change this. I'm not sure if it's making any difference. Do I need to click on OK? No, it didn't work. Okay, so I don't know what is this for. Okay, so it is white right now. Now if I want it to be red, then what is changing to red? Okay, first of all, let me just start this animation. It's making me nuts. Okay, then coming back to style properties. Okay, so this is the shape of material, shiny, show edges. Okay, I guess all this is for the shape. Okay, so this part was for unit cell, this was for axes, this is for shapes, and what does this do? Okay, I'm not seeing any changes, so let me just change it back to the default black color. Okay, so if you find it, then you tell me in the comment section down below. I don't understand what this is about, though I was pretty sure that it was for changing the color of the atoms. However, I think the color of the atoms can be changed from the atom tab. So here you have again you have something for material. However, I think that the color for the atom can be changed from here. So make it pink, so that changes the color of the atoms. Then you have the radius, that is how big you want your atoms to show up. So you can change that from the radius tab. And okay, so now you have pretty huge atoms. Okay, so now let me just change it back to whatever it was, 1.18 something, right? Okay, so you can change that from here. Then okay, then there's a bunch of other information that I don't understand really. And you have, okay, so now there's another important option, that is what kind of radius do you want it to be. Do you want it to be the atomic radii, the ionic radii, or the van der Waals radii? So you can choose it from here, although I usually choose atomic. And then you have the resolution, that I don't really understand. Then you have bonds, that is the color of bonds, I hope. Although again, I don't think that it is going to make any difference. Yeah, just what I thought. So I'm not really sure what do these things do. Okay, so you can change the type of bond, the styles from here. So again, this is another visual tool. So I like the bicolor cylinder more than the unicolor cylinder, so I'll just stick to that. Then again, you can choose the radius and the width of the bonds. Then you have the polyhedra styles, various styles here, then the shininess, material, etc. Okay, so finally I get it. Okay, finally, yeah. So specular is not color, right? So it doesn't changes the color, it changes, I think, the surrounding, like the the aura kind of thing. So I guess it is that, because we have the shine button also. So if you just take it down real quick, then I think the atoms will become pretty dark, right? And okay, now finally I think I got this. So specular means that what you are seeing here is the like it is this shiny ball kind of thing, and you are seeing it shining on the center. So it is looking white right now. Now if I change it to black, then I guess you will see a black shine. Okay, now okay, I really don't understand what that is about, because I really thought that it would turn to black right now. Okay, so it is not black right here. Okay, no. Okay, it won't change to black either for some reason, or maybe some other color. Okay, no, it is not working. It just goes back to white. And the shininess also didn't have any effect on the shine of the app. Okay, now Maybe I can change that from here. Maybe if I make it black. Yeah, finally. Okay, so this one is, I guess, for the unit cell or something. I don't really know what this one is about, but for the atoms you can change the color of shine. That is, you want it to shine in a, with a orange color, with a darker black color, like this. So basically no shine, etc. So let's just stick to the default gray value or whatever it was, and you can even increase the shine by using this. Okay, finally we know what that is about. Then again, for bonds you have this shine, so you can change the shine of the bonds using this, the color of the shine. Then you have the polyhedra and all that stuff along with the polyhedral shapes. Then you have the properties for isosurfaces, like isosurface like a lattice plane. If you are going to be visualizing the lattice plane, then you can have settings for that. Then you have sections, and I don't know what that is about. Okay, so just close it. Then coming to boundary, what we have here, so we have a bunch of options where we can set the range for how many unit cells you want to be displayed, I guess, because if I change it to 2, then it increases the number of atoms being displayed along the x-axis. That is now twice the number of atoms will be displayed. That is twice the length of the lattice parameter A would be shown now. Similarly, if you increase it to 2, then it will show twice the the B lattice parameter, so it will show twice the number of atoms along the y-axis if you change it to 2. So that's all. So you can make it 6 and then click apply. So now you have 6 times the number of atoms in a single unit cell. So this is our small unit cell right here, and the number of units, the atoms, is now 6 times than that in being shown in a single unit cell. So let's just stick to a single unit cell representation, make all these 1, apply, and then you can even cut off your atoms by selecting a lattice plane. That is, let's say you want only the atoms below this plane, right? So this is a 1 plane, I guess, 1 on the c-axis and 1 on the b-axis, and it is parallel to the a-axis. So 1 0 or 0 1 1, right? So 0 1 1, apply. Okay, so now, as I said, so now what this did was it is showing only the atoms. Okay, now I made some changes here, free rotation. Okay, so now what this does is it creates a boundary at the 101 lattice plane, that is this diagonal plane, and then it removes all the atoms below that. So that is what has been done here. So that covers the boundary part. So now you know what this stuff does. Then you have the orientation, where you can set the orientation of your unit cell. So you can project it along the normal lattice vectors or the reciprocal lattice vectors, HKL, and then you have the orientation matrix. So I guess right now it is okay. So now right now it is oriented along the C axis. So we have 0 0 1 because it is oriented along the C axis. Now if you want to view it along the A axis, then you can position it like this, and then you will have the another orientation matrix. So now you're viewing it along the A axis. So, and as you move it, you can see that how your orientation matrix is changing. I don't think that you will be ever using this feature. I don't think it's of very big use. So that's it. That's your user interface, although I have still skipped a lot of functions right here. Okay, so now Let me just quickly cover all these, and then in the next tutorial we'll be covering what all these functions in these tools do. Okay, so we have files, so we have new structure, new window, open, resend, etc. And then you have how to, you can export data, that is whatever you have created right now. You can save it as an XYZ file, or you can save it as a PDB file, or you can save it as a zip file, or some input files like for VESTA software, Chem 3D software, etc. So you can export whatever you have created right here into various modes. Then you can export it as an image, so you have all the image types right here. So all that stuff is right here. You can save the output text, etc. Then you have edit, where you will be able to edit your unit cell, all the phases, structure parameter, etc., all that kind of stuff. So you will be able to create a unit cell from scratch instead of downloading one. And then you have the view, where you can create, or make changes accordingly how you want your atoms to be displayed. Like you can have them displayed parallelly, but I like the perspective mode because it shows which atoms are in the front and which are in the back. Then you have zoom in, zoom out, fit to screen, overall appearance, etc. Then we objects, where structural models, we have already covered that. We have already covered properties, boundary, orientation. We have not covered utilities, so we'll be covering all these. And then we have the help. So not much is left to cover for the next tutorials. We only need to cover the utilities and the edit section. So that's it. I know I was a bit off in this tutorial. Sometimes I didn't know what I was doing, but that's only because I am learning with you guys. So if you enjoyed this video or learned something from it, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. And thanks for watching. I hope I was able to make all this stuff as easy to understand and help you in some way. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.